Hi everyone, Joe Carrig with the Carrig Real Estate Team, and this is your Tassajara Valley Blackhawk neighborhood update for the week of August 24th. If you've listened in on my past videos, you'll know that over 32 years ago, my wife Meg moved our four little kids to the Tassajara Valley Blackhawk area, and we did it for the same reason that everyone's moving in now. The quality of life, the schools, the weather, just the neighborhood feel of it. Nothing has changed over the past 32 years. Well, a couple things have changed. I can remember when we moved in, Crow Canyon cut off at Doherty Valley. It didn't even reach out to Blackhawk. And if you got on Doherty Valley Road and you could drive all the way to Dublin and not see one house. Now there's 15,000 houses, between Crow Canyon and Dublin. But anyway, all of that is good. It just allows more families to enjoy what we've been enjoying for years and years. I've also been very blessed to be the number one real estate professional in the neighborhoods over the past 30 years. So let's dive into this week's update. As in the past, what I've always mentioned is in this real estate market, we're in our spring season because when COVID-19 hit, February had been the busiest February in 13 years. And then COVID hit in March, and all we did in the real estate market is just pause. So when the market kind of opened up a little bit in June, that was like our March 1st. So always February, March, April, May have been the busiest month. And no change here. We've had a little bit of a slowdown with August, with people going on vacation, and also, getting school started in whatever way that is for people now. And so, but for the most part, it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. So let's look at a couple of slides. First off, existing home sales for July 2020, where you can see month to month, sales are up almost 25% from June to July, and year over year, because remember, last summer was a busy summer also, but it's up almost 9%. The median sales price is up 8.5%. And this is obviously nationwide. And the inventory is 3.1 months supply of homes, which a year ago was 4.2 months. And I can tell you in the San Ramon Valley, all through the San Ramon Valley, Tassajara, Blackhawk, San Ramon, it's more of the same. I mean, actually the inventory is even down lower than it is from a national level. So a lot of times people ask me, they go, well, Joe, what about all the foreclosures, people not making their payments? And well, let's take a look at the next slide. The number of mortgages in active forbearance is decreasing. You can see all the way from May going all the way down. It's going down, 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 down. And we'll never see I'm not going to say never, but what we're seeing now is there's not going to be a repeat of this market turns of 2008. Because the difference is in 2006 and 7, people were taking out loans for 100% or more of their value. And as I've shown you in previous slides, 54% of the homeowners in the United States have 50% or more equity. And half of those, home is paid off. So what happens in a normal market correction, if we do hit a correction, which we will at some point, I've been doing this for 42 years, and lived through 5 recessions and sold through 5 recessions. So we will see a correction, but this time when things drop 10%, you're not going to see like the rats off a sinking ship like you saw in 2008. And you can see here how the market, as people get back to work, is starting to steady up a little bit. So let's look at where we are. So the Tassajara Valley 94506 market. You can see the active listings. Now, as I explained in previous videos, anytime you have the pendings outpacing the active properties, that's a seller's market. And that's what we're seeing. We had 2 listings in the last week. We had 1 listing in Wood Ranch, one of the Ponderosa homes, that was listed at what we thought was a top price. And we got 4 offers and ended up selling for $80,000 more than asking. We just put a home on the market and got an offer today in another neighborhood that, again, what we thought was probably, the upper end of the market for that home. And we got an offer for $55,000 over asking. And it was a preemptive offer because we had other potential people that wanted to make an offer on it. So this buyer was really kind of smart. He got ahead of the game a little bit and made the offer for $55,000 more than asking. So the market is just nuts out there. I mean, for the nicer listings and for the ones that are priced well. Because one thing you'll see when we look at the stats, so you can see now the good part about this is when you look at last week compared to this week, saw that the active listings really went down, but they stayed steady for a week. I think that's that August slowdown of just a little bit. And you can see obviously the pendings actually went down a little bit compared to the week before. Closed sales went down a little bit. So I don't think that's a trend. We'll know in a couple weeks. When I talk to you in a couple weeks, we'll have a clearer picture. But I think it's more just that August, because before this year, pre-COVID, the last 5 or 6 years, the slowest month of the year was August because people getting their last vacations in, because school's starting. So I don't know if that little bit of evening out, now you can still see it's a seller's market and we're seeing that out there, but I don't know if it's, August or maybe it's a trend. We'll know, we'll look at it closely in a couple weeks. Let's look at Blackhawk. Now, you've seen Blackhawk, obviously Blackhawk was nuts for a while. And I'll tell you why. It's still busy, but let me tell you why it seems like it slowed down a little bit. You can see 3 weeks ago, I have never seen this in Blackhawk in my 30 plus years of selling hundreds of homes in Blackhawk, is where you had pending sales were 22 and active listings were 22. I've never seen the market where you had as many pending sales as active properties in Blackhawk. And then you can look at it, you can see the pending sales have gone down, and inventory has creeped up a little bit. Now, I will tell you, you'll sit there and go, my God, it's really changing. It's not that much, and let me show you why. Because if we look at number one, Tassajara, you can see that what people are doing is they're picking the low fruit on the tree. And so you see the active properties are 1,688,000. They've been on the market for 26 days. And then the pending sales are 1,711,000, and they've been on market 20 days. But look at the sold properties. Now, number one, they're selling at 101% of asking, which means everything's going for asking or more for the most part. But the average price is 1,347,000. So you can see with the sold properties that people are picking the low fruit on the tree. But what happens, that low fruit, once you pick it, it's not there anymore. So you can see now the average price of the pending properties is up to 1,700,000. And the same thing in Blackhawk, what I mentioned to you in Blackhawk. Look at the average price of the homes on the market. They've been on the market 75 days, and it's the average price of the active properties are over $3 million. Look at the average price of the sold properties that sold for 102% of asking, $1.5 million. That is basically the low-hanging fruit. So what happened is the reason you saw the pendings go down because all the fruit was gone. So people had to go get their ladder out and climb a little higher, because you can see, look at the pending properties now, where the sold properties were on the market only an average of 6 days, and it was $1.5 million. So when something came up in that $1.5 million range, it sold right away. And then you can see the pending properties now are close to $2 million. So people are climbing up a little bit higher because the low-hanging fruit is gone. You saw the same thing in Tassajara. But that's one of the reasons why you saw in Blackhawk where things normalized out a little bit and pending sales went down, because there just wasn't the inventory that people wanted. They wanted the low end of the inventory, because buyers, it's like a pyramid, that the higher you get in the price, the less buyers there are, and the lower you get, the more buyers are out there. So you'll always see the low-hanging fruit, and you've seen that in both the Tassajara Valley and Blackhawk, the same thing happening. So, but every market is a little bit different. If you have any questions, every neighborhood is a little bit different. If you have any questions at all as far as your individual, because even within a neighborhood, every street, every house is a little bit different, please feel free to give me a call, and no obligation. We'll sit down with you, talk to you about it. I will tell you, we don't look at ourselves as real estate agents. We look at ourselves as consultants and advisors. So when we sit down with you, one of every 4 or 5 people that we speak with, we'd end up not putting their home on the market, because that's not the best thing for them. I'm very blessed in the fact that after doing this for 42 years, I can sit down with people, and it's not a matter of, hey, I need this property to sell for me to pay my bills. That's one of the tough parts when you first get started. I can remember 4 years ago, you'd look at someone like a dollar bill because you had to put food on the table. But now you can really sit down with people and give them the advice that they need, advise them, and be a consultant and not just a salesperson. So if you want to sit down and consult or have just chat a little bit about your individual situation, give me a call. My cell number 925-487-6838. Again, 925-487-6838. Joe at kerigteam.com. So again, Joe at KEHRIGTEAM.com. So I hope you have a great week. Can't wait to talk to you again in a couple of weeks. Again, feel free to call me if you have any questions at all. And hopefully you're safe, being safe, your family's safe. And may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. See you soon.